deepened subtly through the interaction with the beliefs of countless beings and the original source of a vast world. Scale of the realm of origin, continuously expanding. Maximum adjustable flow of time, 1,000,000 times. Conversion efficiency of faith power to root power, 0.0000001, continuously accumulating. Resolution of root essence, 0.0010012. The progress was minuscule, yet Li Wei understood that at his current level, every slight advancement was nothing short of miraculous. He remained unhurried, meticulously sorting through the laws of the origin continent, utilizing it as a testing ground to validate his various concepts regarding the root, while simultaneously observing the boundless primordial space through the eye of the root. On one particular day, as he was at the core of the realm of origin, observing the intertwining evolution of the ancient tree of Tao and the seeds of the void, an exceedingly faint, yet fundamentally profound wave, imbued with a sense of greed and curiosity, brushed against the world's barrier of the origin continent. No, more precisely, it touched upon the intangible network of root laws he had dispersed throughout the continent. Warning: high-dimensional perception, scan detected. Source: boundless primordial space, unknown coordinates. Energy level assessment: beyond the divine monarch, world-class primordial life and above. Intent: to peer into and analyze the current core of the world's origin, focusing on fluctuations of root power. Li Wei awakened from his contemplation, a glimmer of understanding passing through his gaze. The ripples in the pond stirred, ultimately attracting the attention of larger fish in the waters. He did not impede that perception. Rather, he deliberately revealed a pure essence of the root, akin to bait. Indeed, the presence within the primordial realm seemed drawn to this higher-level aura, its greed intensifying. In the next moment, a colossal, chaotic, and devouring wolf forcefully penetrated the barrier of the world, locking onto Li Wei within the realm of origin. Little one, surrender the secrets of the origin within you. A disjointed yet infinitely ancient and chaotic mental intent surged forth, akin to a cacophony of myriad sounds, assaulting Li Wei's consciousness. Simultaneously, through the perspective of Li Wei's eye of the root, he beheld, in the deeper dimensions of the boundless primordial space, numerous colossal tendrils, adorned with bizarre runes and exuding a nauseating aura of chaos, were attempting to traverse time and space, reaching towards the origin continent, towards his position. The master of these tendrils, a life form beyond comprehension, undoubtedly possessed strength at the level of world-class primordial life, perhaps even stronger. They were not entities in the conventional sense, but rather conglomerates of certain laws and concepts, predators birthed from the primordial space itself, existing to devour worlds and decipher origins. Chaotic conglomerates, harbingers of disorder, dare to covet the root? Li Wei's voice resonated calmly and unwaveringly, echoing through this dimension that straddled the line between the real and the unreal. The entity of the primordial source appeared to be incensed, manifesting an increased number of spectral tendrils, imbued with the power to obliterate stars and corrupt laws, hastening its approach. Wherever it traversed, even the currents of the primordial source were assimilated and distorted. Faced with this threat from a higher dimension, Li Wei did not vacate the realm of the origin. He merely raised his hand, not to strike, but as if to pluck the strings of a celestial harp in the void. I decree, this world barrier shall reject all unauthorized high-dimensional probing and invasion. I decree, this chaotic thought, in this dimension, is rendered void. I decree, any malice directed at me shall rebound upon its source. The words of the root level manifest as law. The first decree was established, and the barrier of the origin continent was instantaneously enshrouded in an imperceptible radiance of the primordial source, severing the perception of the primordial entity completely, repelling it so that it could not penetrate even a fraction. The second decree took effect, erasing the chaotic thoughts that assailed Li Wei's mind as if they had been wiped away by an eraser, vanishing without a trace as though they had never existed. The third decree, imbued with a mysterious retaliatory force of causality, traced back along the tendrils and thoughts of the primordial entity, directly affecting its essence. From the depths of the distorted chaotic region within the endless primordial space, a silent roar filled with pain and fury echoed forth. The colossal being attempting to invade had part of its core thought forcibly defined as void, resulting in an instantaneous fracture and tumult of its essence. More terrifyingly, that defining power continued to erode its very concept of existence like a malignant affliction. In terror, it severed all tendrils linking it to the origin continent and retreated into the depths of the primordial realm, no longer daring to approach even a fraction. All of this transpired in the blink of an eye. The myriad beings on the origin continent, including the 17 deities who had been stripped of their powers, remained utterly oblivious. Only Li Wei, in the silence, had resolved a crisis that originated from beyond the world. Indeed, within the primordial realm, there existed entities capable of perceiving the essence. It appeared that gathering shards and accelerating growth could not be delayed. Li Wei's gaze deepened. Though he could now define a realm through the authority of the primordial source, his own comprehension of its principles was still too shallow, limiting his coverage and absolute suppressive power over higher-tier foes. With a thought, 3 avatars, each exuding pure essence akin to Li Wei himself, emerged from within him. Go. Retrieve those 3 shards. The 3 avatars nodded slightly, stepping forth and traversing the void towards the locations of the previously identified transcendent seed fragments. Utilizing the power of the primordial avatars to collect unclaimed shards was akin to plucking fruit from a tree. After dispatching the avatars, Li Wei's essence returned to focus on the primordial space. This pond felt somewhat small still. Perhaps it was time to venture into broader waters. A thought arose within him. It was time to preliminarily explore the infinite primordial space, not for the sake of escape, but for conquest and assimilation. The path of the primordial essence must be sown across the myriad realms, uniting the boundless primordial sources into one. His journey has finally commenced upon the most expansive stage known to existence. His legend shall undoubtedly inscribe a resplendent chapter within this boundless chaos. Chapter 153. The initial steps into the chaotic source, defining the void to forge the foundation of the path. The affairs of the origin continent have become as familiar to Li Wei as the patterns within his palm, devoid of any secrets or challenges. The 3 embodiments of the primal essence, wielding absolute authority, collected the scattered fragments of transcendent seeds with effortless grace, akin to gathering lost pearls from the dust. As the final shard merged with him, Li Wei sensed that the system, or rather, the core of the transcendent seed that had fully integrated with him, had become more harmonious and flawless, enhancing his perception of the primal source. All known source fragments have been successfully retrieved. Primal Path Resonance Analysis 001-20015. The structure of the primal realm has further stabilized. With a 300 increase in barrier strength, Li Wei understood that to achieve rapid advancement, he must seek higher level and larger scale resources. These resources lay within the boundless, uncharted chaos that nurtured countless worlds, teeming with both wonder and peril. He did not make a grand spectacle of his departure. With a mere thought, his essence quietly left the origin continent, stepping into the vibrant, chaotic, and energy-wild expanse of the endless chaotic source. The currents that ordinary world-level chaotic beings navigated with utmost caution felt to him like a gentle breeze. Those spatial rifts and law storms capable of obliterating divine kings were smoothed, assimilated, and transformed into the most docile primal energy by an invisible field of primal force surrounding him. Thus, he strolled with ease, as if wandering through his own backyard. His primal eye surveyed the vast chaos, revealing myriad wonders. Shattered remnants of worlds floated like islands, echoing the elegies of bygone civilizations. The nascent forms of universes bobbed within the chaos, akin to bubbles with time flowing at peculiar rates within them. Swarms of diverse chaotic beings swam in the distance, instinctively retreating from the unfathomable aura emanating from Li Wei, imbued with an instinctual dread. Further still, slumbered even larger, more ancient presences, comparable to high-tier chaotic beings. Perhaps even lord-level entities. Li Wei's intentions were crystal clear. He was not here for mere sightseeing. He sought to absorb and define. He pinpointed a relatively stable, yet intricately complex domain of chaotic energy, characterized by violent turbulence. This domain was enough to deter the average world-level chaotic life form. Here, the energy was tumultuous, and the laws were chaotic, of no use to him. Standing at the center of this domain, he calmly proclaimed, "I define, the energy of this domain shall return to tranquility, the laws shall align in order, and the space shall attain stability." As he spoke, the laws followed his command. In an instant, a formless wave radiated from him. The previously tumultuous and chaotic energies, akin to boiling porridge, instantaneously transformed into a state of utmost docility, flowing in an orderly fashion according to some profound principle. The conflicting and distorted lines of law were forcibly straightened and integrated, forming a stable and harmonious new framework of principles. The spatial structure of the entire void became unassailable, as if transformed from mere tofu into divine iron. In a fleeting thought, desolation was transmuted into a pure land, and the dead realm was transformed into a celestial paradise. Yet, this was not sufficient. Li Wei raised his hand, pointing towards the void he had redefined. "I declare, this domain shall serve as the vanguard of the source, bridging my realm and anchoring the primordial essence." Boom. The ethereal shadow of the realm of origins manifested behind him, with the roots of a colossal ancient tree of Tao extending outward, not as a tangible entity, but as an extension of principles, deeply penetrating the newly defined void. The two began to merge. This void appeared to become a portal or base for the realm of origins within the boundless primordial essence. Successfully established the vanguard base of the source in the endless primordial space. Number 1. Commencing absorption, transformation, and filtration of the primordial energy in this space. Transformation efficiency, constant. The growth rate of the realm of origins increased by 1,000. The resolution of the Tao rhythm of the source experienced a slight enhancement. Detected that the vanguard base could attract and capture nearby fragmented worlds and embryonic universes, accelerating the expansion of the realm of origins. The results were immediate. Li Wei distinctly felt that through this vanguard base, the realm of origins was as if connected to an infinite source of energy, resulting in a meteoric rise in growth speed. Although the enhancement in the resolution of the Tao rhythm of the source remained gradual, The expansion of the realm's essence and the accumulation of its foundation were undeniably substantial. Just as he savored the exhilaration of devouring the primordial essence, a formidable will, imbued with scrutiny and a hint of displeasure, abruptly descended. Who dares to recklessly alter the laws and establish a nest in this domain? A colossal figure coalesced in the distant primordial currents, resembling a giant turtle, adorned with a shell composed of countless stellar trajectories, exuding a vast aura. It was an ancient existence that had reached the pinnacle of world-class primordial life, even brushing against the threshold of dominion. Clearly, it was the default sovereign of this void. And Li Wei's actions were perceived as blatant invasion and provocation. Li Wei cast a calm glance at it. This domain now belongs to me. Do you have any objections? The giant turtle, enraged, had survived countless epochs. When had it ever been so scorned? Arrogance. This is my territory. Leave at once. Or else. Before its words could finish, Li Wei had already lost interest in its meaningless chatter. Noise. I declare, your voice, in this place, shall be silence. With a thought, the law followed. The giant turtle was horrified to discover that its roar, capable of shaking the galaxies, transformed into absolute stillness the moment it escaped its lips. No matter how it summoned its divine power, it could not produce a single sound. This deprivation of its fundamental abilities was utterly unprecedented. I further declare, your actions, in this place, shall be bound. With the second decree, the giant turtle's massive form was instantly ensnared by invisible shackles, unable to move even a single claw. The fury within its eyes transformed into boundless terror, as it finally comprehended that this seemingly insignificant entity before it wielded an authority beyond its grasp, transcending the fundamental laws of existence. Li Wei gazed upon the utterly restrained giant turtle as one would observe an inanimate object. This pinnacle of world-class primordial life, with its robust energy core and unique understanding of the laws, was perfectly suited to serve as the inaugural guardian puppet of the Root Outpost, while also allowing for the analysis of its life form to enrich my database. He extended his hand in a gesture that seemed to grasp the void. I decree, your will shall submit to me, your power shall merge within this domain. The force of the source transformed into an invisible brand, forcibly inscribed upon the soul core of the giant turtle's primordial life, suppressing and reconstructing its self-will, transforming it into an unwavering puppet loyal to Li Wei. Simultaneously, its vast power was channeled forth, continuously infusing the Root Outpost beneath his feet, fortifying it further and enhancing the efficiency of absorbing and converting primordial energy. Thus, an ancient primordial life form, nearing the realm of dominion, was effortlessly subdued and claimed. Li Wei stood at the outpost base, feeling the surging energy flooding into the realm of the source, his gaze sweeping deeper into the darker recesses of the primordial expanse. The first outpost had been established. Next would come the second, the third, until all this boundless primordial essence was subsumed under my root system. His journey through the primordial realm had officially commenced. And this chaotic sea, which had birthed countless legends, was about to welcome its sole sovereign. Chapter 154. The Lord bows to offer the source. Shadows of the primordial tower appear in the firmament. The behemoth known as the Lord of the Rift, a hybrid of lion, tiger, and colossal python, was cloaked in scales as dark as the remnants of stars, its dual flames burning with the chaos capable of incinerating entire realms. Its mere presence made the surrounding primordial currents retreat, its might far surpassing that of the previously encountered giant turtle. It fixed its gaze upon Li Wei and the Root Outpost beneath his feet, which emanated peculiar waves of order. First, a flicker of astonishment graced its eyes, swiftly eclipsed by insatiable greed and ferocity. To steal the essence of the primordial source and establish a deviant order, your core shall belong to me. The Lord of the Rift unleashed a roar that reverberated through dimensions, a massive claw extending forth, its talons entwined with the supreme laws of tearing, annihilation, and returned to silence. Where it passed, space did not shatter. Instead, it disintegrated directly into the most fundamental streams of particles. This strike was more than sufficient to easily rend the defenses of a higher world. In the face of this overwhelming assault, Li Wei remained poised with his hands clasped behind his back, his expression unchanging. The power is formidable, yet the form is crude, the path has deviated. He assessed coolly, then spoke. I decree, the power of this claw shall dissipate into the formless. I decree, your form shall revert to the purity of your initial comprehension of the laws. As the words were spoken, the law followed. The definition of the root took effect. The first decree fell, and the terrifying claw strike of the Lord of the Rift, capable of shredding star realms, began to dissipate silently, like ice under the scorching sun, unraveling into gentle primordial currents long before it reached Li Wei, miles away. As the second definition fell away, the Lord of the Rift universe was seized by a profound terror upon discovering that its once mighty form, honed over countless epochs and a source of immense pride, was uncontrollably beginning to reverse its evolution. The indomitable scales became ethereal, its colossal physique shrank, and the chaotic, violent aura rapidly dissipated. Within mere breaths, it was transformed back into a relatively feeble primordial life form, no larger than a planet, entwined solely by the fundamental laws of the Rift. No, this cannot be. My power. My body. The Lord of the Rift let out a desperate, anguished roar. Unable to comprehend or accept this reality, its adversary had not even launched a direct assault, with merely 2 utterances. It had stripped away everything the Lord had painstakingly cultivated over billions of years. What realm of power is this? Li Wei gazed down upon the Lord, now reverted to its initial form, as one might observe a specimen divested of all its splendid adornments. Now can we converse? His voice remained calm, yet carried a chilling resonance that froze the very essence of the soul. Submit, and offer your dominion along with the essence of your innate laws, or I shall reduce you conceptually to a mere speck of dust within the primordial realm. The enormous, youthful eyes of the Lord brimmed with sheer terror. It harbored no doubt that Li Wei could indeed enact the latter. In the face of such incomprehensible and insurmountable authority, the so-called dignity of a lord appeared as fragile as a jest. I submit. It lowered its once proud head, allowing its core of soul to relinquish its defenses. Willing to offer the essence of the laws of the Rift and all resources within the 30 million units of its dominion, pleading for mercy from the sovereign. A stream of the laws of the Rift, imbued with its most profound insights and sources of power, emerged from its being like a shimmering silver-gray river of stars. Drifting towards Li Wei, Li Wei extended his hand to receive it. This essence, potent enough to drive any world-class primordial being into madness, circled obediently in his grasp. Yet, with a mere thought, he imprinted a mark of origin deep within the soul of the Lord of the Rift, exerting complete dominion over its life and death. Simultaneously, the stream of the laws of the Rift was directly funneled into the foundational outpost beneath his feet. Buzz. The outpost surged with brilliance, its efficiency in absorbing and converting primordial energy skyrocketing once more. Furthermore, the surrounding space began to fold and expand autonomously, evolving into layered defensive and offensive spatial structures. These were the natural manifestations following the integration of the essence of the laws of the Rift. Successfully subdued the Lord-class primordial being. The Lord of the Rift. Absorbed the stream of the laws of the Rift. Resolution of Foundational Principles. 00180025. Foundation Outpost. No. 1. Upgraded to a foundational barrier, significantly enhancing the integrity of spatial laws, with defense and offensive capabilities strengthened by 500. Acquired detailed coordinates and resource distribution maps of the territories under the Lord of the Rift. Sensing the discernible growth of foundational principles within him and the fortification of the foundational barrier, Li Wei nodded in satisfaction. This was the epitome of efficient growth. However, just as he was digesting this bounty and preparing to strategize his next course of action, a tremendous rumble echoed. A surge of indescribable vastness, ancientness, and majesty emanated suddenly from the profound and distant reaches of the boundless primordial space. Immediately, within the hearts and minds of all sentient beings attuned to their surroundings, including the newly subdued Lord of the Rift, an awe-inspiring vision materialized. At the unattainable zenith of the primordial realm, the ethereal silhouette of a tower slowly emerged. The dimensions of this tower were beyond description, as if it supported the entirety of the infinite primordial cosmos. Its structure was suffused with myriad colors, flowing with boundless arcane runes, exuding an aura that transcended the lords and everything known. An essence of ultimate completeness and transcendence naturally radiated forth. Warning. Detection of an extraordinary conceptual projection. The 10,000 Transformation Primordial Tower. Database correlation. Ultimate objective of the Transcendent Seed Project. To ascend the tower's apex and wield the power of the 10,000 transformations. The emergence of the 10,000 Transformation Primordial Tower's projection signifies the imminent commencement of a new qualification contest for transcendence. All qualified entities shall be guided. The Lord of the Rift felt the tower's breath, and his colossal form trembled violently. A complex blend of desire and reverence flickering in his eyes. The 10,000 Transformation Primordial Tower. The legends were indeed true, a chance for transcendence. Li Wei gazed upwards at the tower as shadow, seemingly perched at the pinnacle of all time and space, and the core of the transcendent seed within him resonated powerfully. He smiled. At last, the ultimate stage had arrived. How fortuitous. It spared me the effort of a prolonged search. This endless primordial realm, this 10,000 Transformation Primordial Tower, shall ultimately lie beneath my feet, serving as the staircase to the summit of my path of origins. His gaze pierced through the infinite void, locking onto the tower's silhouette, his fighting spirit and anticipation soaring to unprecedented heights. The true journey had only just begun. Chapter 155. A thought alters the tower's order, awaiting your arrival amidst the multitude. The projection of the 10,000 Transformation Primordial Tower stood like an eternal monument atop the boundless primordial heights, its transcendent aura akin to the sweetest poison, luring all formidable beings attuned to its presence. In that moment, countless ancient epic lords, some uniquely powerful primordial beings, and even remnants of the most potent souls from obliterated worlds awakened from their slumber or concealment, their gazes fervently fixed upon the tower's shadow. Surrounding the tower, paths of pure laws began to manifest, each emitting a distinct aura of trials. Some blazed like rivers of molten lava, others chilled as absolute zero, and some shifted unpredictably like the currents of fate, This was the pathway to the qualifications for transcendence. The Lord of the Rift sensed the grand summons and a faint resonance of qualification within his soul, looking at Li Wei with a mixture of excitement and reverence. Master, the 10,000 transformation primordial tower has opened. The path to ascend is revealed. Shall we? His words were abruptly cut off. As it observed, Li Wei did not cast his gaze upon the so-called paths to ascend the tower. Instead, his eyes pierced through layers of void, settling directly upon the towering shadow itself. More precisely, his focus was on the inner workings of that shadow, a fundamental chain of rules that governed its operation. In the eyes of Li Wei, the immense shadow of the tower was not without its flaws. It was woven from an intricacy of countless rules, which dictated the tower's operational methods, entry conditions, the nature of the trials, and even the ultimate rewards. To ordinary beings, these rules appeared as supreme, unassailable decrees, yet to him, the root envoy, they resembled code that could be read, analyzed, and even modified. To ascend the tower methodically, adhering to its prescribed paths, Li Wei shook his head gently, a hint of disdainful mockery in his tone, too slow, and far too mundane. He slowly raised his hand, not pointing to any specific path, but rather gesturing towards the vast tower shadow itself, fingers slightly splayed, as if he intended to grasp the entire shadow within his palm. I observe that there are flaws in the operational sequence of this tower, and the paths set forth do not align with my will, he spoke calmly. His voice soft yet imbued with a power capable of defining epochs, resonating clearly within the minds of all qualified beings connected to the tower shadow. I hereby decree, wherever my breath reaches, the tower's rules must be altered to my design. At the root level, my words manifest as law. The target, the rule sequence of the Wan Yin Hun Yuan Tower. Boom. An indescribable wave of energy emanated from Li Wei, disregarding the fabric of time and space, directly impacting the fundamental rules that underpin the existence of the tower shadow. In an instant, all who perceived the tower's presence, whether they were diminutive world-class entities, formidable lord-class beings, or even some ancient and mysterious existences, were struck with astonishment as they witnessed the towering, eternal, seemingly unquestionable projection of the Wan Yin Hun Yuan Tower tremble ever so slightly. What followed was a scene that rendered the entire endless Hun Yuan space speechless. Thousands of paths radiating various trial energies, among which the 9 core paths, rumored to be accessible only to the most elite lords, had their entry barriers part as though commanded by a supreme order. Like soldiers responding in unison, they did not merely open. The restrictions at the entrances were outright nullified. 9 unobstructed pathways, leading directly into the unknown depths of the tower, manifested out of thin air, clearly presented to the perception of all qualified beings. But that was not the end of it. A crystal-clear stream of information surged through the connection of the tower shadow, flooding the consciousness of all qualified individuals. Temporary rule change. Holders of the root Dao rhythm possess the highest access rights, allowing them to bypass all preliminary trials and directly enter the core area of the tower, the Wan Yin Yuan Sea. Temporary rule change. The flow of time within the tower can be adjusted by the will of the holder of the root Dao rhythm. Upper limit, unknown. Temporary rule change. Under the command of Li Wei, the once ironclad rules of the tower were forcibly amended and modified. No longer a mere participant, he had become the architect of the very rules themselves. The Lord of the Cracked Universe stared vacantly at the 9 unobstructed main pathways, his mind a blank slate. Having existed through countless epochs and heard countless legends of the Infinite Source Tower, all emphasizing the absolute nature of its rules and the harshness of its trials, he never imagined that someone could directly alter the tower's regulations. In the vast expanse of the Infinite Source, those ancient beings who had been eagerly preparing to embark on their ascent were now enveloped in a profound silence. They felt the forcibly rewritten rules and the clearly designated authority of the Source's Tao, an icy chill of disbelief washing over them from the depths of their souls. Modify the rules of the Infinite Source Tower? What is the Source Tao? Who is this person? Shock, horror, and an indescribable fear engulfed them. The ability to alter the rules of transcendence itself implied a level of mastery that could surpass that of the tower climbers, possibly even equating to or exceeding that of the tower's creator. Li Wei remained indifferent to the astonished, fearful, and inquisitive glances directed at him from all corners of the Infinite Source. He withdrew his hand, as if he had merely accomplished a trivial task. Cracked Universe. Your subordinate is here. The Lord of the Cracked Universe, startled, bowed deeply with unprecedented reverence, his tone filled with awe. Summon all world-class and above beings of the Infinite Source under your command to assemble and await orders at this barrier. Yes, Master. Furthermore, Li Wei's gaze swept over the 9 pathways he had forcibly opened and the other routes that appeared somewhat chaotic due to the changes in the rules. He conveyed his intent. All who wish to follow me as their master and enter my Source Divine cult may take the paths I have opened and gain priority in entering the tower. Those who defy me shall be stripped of their qualifications and shall never set foot inside. His voice reverberated through the tower's shadow rules, resonating clearly within the hearts of all qualified beings. In an instant, countless ancient entities were profoundly shaken. Was he planning to seize this opportunity to recruit the elite forces of the entire Infinite Source? Some rebellious Lord-level beings seethed with rage in their hearts, but dared not act rashly. If he could alter the tower's rules, then stripping them of their qualifications was likely a mere word away. Meanwhile, more vulnerable world-class beings, and even some solitary special entities, began to contemplate their options. Following a supreme being capable of modifying the rules of transcendence seemed far more promising than their own arduous struggles. Li Wei paid no heed to the tumult of the outside world and turned to step into the core of the upgraded source barrier. He needed to prepare, not to face the trials within the tower. Those held no meaning for him, but to enter the infinite source sea and confront the ultimate mysteries of this source space, thus propelling his own source Tao toward true perfection. The rules of the infinite source tower had shifted because of him alone, and the entire infinite source stirred with his words. He had yet to ascend the tower, yet he had already compelled the tower to change and the multitude to await him. This was the might of the source. As he ascended to the pinnacle of the tower, he encountered the boundless primal source, ushering in the moment of singular dominion. Chapter 156. The Source Sea reveals the Creator. A thought transcends and unfolds a new chapter. At the heart of the myriad primal source tower lies the vast Source Sea. This is not a material ocean, but rather the ultimate convergence of information and possibilities. Countless radiant laws of origin flutter like lively fish, while deeper within, the fates of countless universes, birth and extinction, the rise and fall of civilizations, and the myriad paths that transcend imagination, float as conceptual bubbles. Each breath of this place harbors secrets capable of driving even Lord-level beings to madness. As Li Wei stepped into this realm, the natural resonance of the primal laws surrounding him brought a momentary calm to the turbulent Source Sea. The frenzied laws of origin grew docile, and the shattered concepts gravitated towards him, as if reverently acknowledging their ultimate destination. He did not need to search. His gaze was drawn directly to the depths of the Source Sea. There, it was not a physical entity but rather a continuously shifting amalgamation of will, embodying infinite possibilities. It lacked a fixed form, sometimes appearing as an elder, at other times as a child or a deity, its very existence a manifestation of creation and design. This entity is one of the initiators and core designers of the Transcendent Seed Plan, known as the true spirit of the path of transformation. As Li Wei's gaze descended, the shifting amalgamation of will abruptly solidified into the ethereal visage of an ancient figure, whose eyes seemed to harbor the schemes of eternity. He regarded Li Wei with an initial scrutiny, soon revealing an unmistakable shock, followed by a fervor at the impending culmination of his plan. You have arrived, the perfect fruit. The voice of the true spirit of the path of transformation echoed directly in Li Wei's mind, imbued with a condescending admiration, melding all fragments and fulfilling the transcendent seed, while also grasping the root power that transcends the plan. You are even more perfect than we had envisioned as the ideal vessel. Li Wei's expression remained tranquil, unfazed by the terms such as fruit or vessel. He simply replied, after expending countless epochs to orchestrate such a grand scheme, sifting and nurturing these so-called seeds, your intentions must extend beyond merely cultivating a successor. Upon hearing this, the true spirit of the path of transformation displayed a complex smile, one that bore both pride and a subtle hint of exhaustion. A successor? No, my child. What we seek is not a mere successor, but a solution, an ultimate answer. He gestured towards the boundless source sea before them. Behold these infinite possibilities. This seemingly flourishing endless primal source, yet all are ensnared within an invisible prison. Cycles of birth and death, conflict, transcendence, repeating endlessly, appearing boundless yet remaining within confines. We, the former Council of Creators, have discerned the limits of this framework and glimpsed the despairing tide of great annihilation beyond it. The ultimate dissolution of all meaning. Even transcendence itself cannot evade this final fate. The purpose of the Transcendent Seed Plan is to cultivate one capable of shattering this ultimate framework, leading all meaningful entities to resist and even transcend the great annihilation, the variable. His gaze burned intensely as he fixed his eyes upon Li Wei. And you, burdened with the strongest seed crafted from our utmost devotion, have even nurtured the unknown source within yourself. You are the variable we have awaited through countless cycles. Now, it is time for you to fulfill your mission. Embrace the ultimate legacy of the Source Sea, bearing all our hopes and powers, and then shatter that final barrier. As he spoke, the entire Wan Yin Source Sea surged with fervor, an endless tide of information, energy, the origins of laws, and the immense will and power of the true spirit of the path began to converge upon Li Wei, propelling him towards the exalted yet burdensome position of savior that had been preordained for him. However, in the face of this overwhelming gift and mission that could drive any being to madness, Li Wei merely smiled. In that smile lay a hint of indifference, a flicker of understanding, and a trace of pity. Break the framework? Resist the great oblivion? He gently shook his head. Your vision remains ultimately constrained by the framework itself. He did not accept the surging power of the legacy. Instead, he took a step forward, the essence of his source resonating like rippling water. You perceive cycles. You see oblivion, and thus contemplate how to break the cycle and defy oblivion. Yet, does this not merely entrap you in the dualistic opposition of cycle and resistance? What is the source? The beginning of all things is also their end. Existence and nothingness, order and chaos, life and death, are but two facets of the same entity, stemming from the Tao and returning to it. Li Wei's voice, though not loud, seemed to encapsulate the profound truths of the universe. As he spoke, the source sea around him began to undergo a fundamental transformation, no longer a chaotic expression, but rather revealing a harmonious tableau of yin and yang, existence and non-existence coalescing. You seek transcendence to combat oblivion, akin to using fire to ward off the cold. Though you may find warmth in a corner, it is not a lasting solution. For the transcendence you define becomes the very antithesis of oblivion, bound by it. My source, however, encompasses all and governs all. Oblivion is not an enemy. It is but a ring in the Tao, an embodiment of nothingness, essential for the renewal of all things. I need not resist it. I merely need to understand it. Embrace it and define it. He regarded the true spirit of the path, whose expression was gradually shifting, his gaze tranquil yet imbued with undeniable strength. Your plans, your legacy, are but provisions to me, pieces of a puzzle that allow me to see the path ahead. Yet my journey shall be forged by my own will, devoid of any expectations or missions from others. This source sea, this primordial essence, this great oblivion, even the very framework you deem to be the ultimate fear, shall be redefined under the auspices of my source path, incorporated into my own system. With those words, Li Wei ceased to acknowledge the shock, confusion, and faint despair on the face of the true spirit of the path. He fully relinquished his own source resonance. It was not absorption, rather, it was embrace. The entire Wan Yin source sea, along with the immense will and legacy of the true spirit of the path, converged upon him like rivers returning to the sea, enveloped, deciphered, and embraced by his source. This was not plunder, but rather a higher-level integration and unification. Absorbing and analyzing the essence of the myriad sources and the fundamental principles therein, the resolution of the source's rhythm stands at 0:1508. Absorbing and dissecting the true spirit of the path and the core data of transcendent plans, the database expands infinitely, elevating the essence of the source's rhythm. The realm of the void, the realm of origins, undergoes a fundamental transformation, embodying the cycle of life and death, approaching completion. As the true spirit of the path merges with Li Wei's essence, it becomes increasingly ethereal. His final gaze upon Li Wei is fraught with intricate emotions, some release, some loss, culminating in a long, profound sigh. It turns out, the path has always been beneath our feet. We have merely been fixated on gazing at the heavens. So be it, so be it. His form dissipates entirely, becoming nourishment for Li Wei's path of origin. Li Wei stands alone within the desolate, yet seemingly boundless sea of origins, feeling an unprecedented strength and completeness coursing through him. Framework, great extinction? He muses softly, then raises his gaze, seemingly piercing through the myriad essence tower, transcending the endless source, and glimpsing the so-called ultimate barrier that exists in the void. From this day forth, my will shall be directed towards the framework. I define existence, thus all things arise. I define void, and great extinction is but a transformation of my thought. Transcendence? He has already surpassed it. Chapter 157. The path of origin achieves enlightenment across all realms, sovereign in the realm of great freedom. The sigh of the true spirit of the path reverberates in the silent sea of origins, its existence now wholly transformed into sustenance for Li Wei's path. The myriad essence tower, stripped of its core will, begins to waver, its once mighty silhouette becoming illusory and unstable, as numerous fine cracks appear upon its surface, threatening to crumble into nothingness. Li Wei stands at the heart of the sea of origins, eyes closed in deep concentration. A monumental transformation is unfolding within him. The infinite information, energy, and foundational laws of the myriad sources, along with the wisdom of countless epochs and the secrets of transcendent plans contained within the true spirit of the path, are being rapidly decomposed, absorbed, and integrated by the rhythm of origin. It is no longer a simple accumulation of power, but rather a profound elevation and reconstruction of essence. Within the realm of his origin, the ancient tree of the path radiates brilliance, its branches and leaves unfurling, enacting the ultimate cycle from nothingness to existence and back to nothingness. Countless arcane runes of origin emerge upon the barriers of the realm, autonomously drawing in energy from the boundless essence, and even from higher dimensional realms in the void. Resolution of the source's rhythm, 081515, continuously soaring. The essential transformation of the realm of origin is complete, officially promoted to the eternal true realm of pure origin, infused with infinite dimensions, time, space, causality, and fate are all defined by the will of the realm master. Infinite absorption rules upgraded to source assimilation, capable of assimilating all existence and non-existence, incorporating their essence into the source system. The essence of life transcends into the messenger of origin, elevated to the master of origin. At the moment the resolution of the source's rhythm surpasses a critical threshold, Li Wei abruptly opens his eyes. His eyes transcended the capacity of human emotion to articulate. The left eye resembled a vast galaxy, encompassing the perpetual cycle of life and death, while the right eye mirrored the abyssal sea of ultimate dissolution. Deep within their twin orbs lay a singular point of absolute tranquility, a light that seemed to define all existence. He made no overt movement, merely existing in that moment. Yet, throughout the boundless expanse of the primordial chaos, along with the countless universes, worlds, and dimensions it governed, every sentient being capable of perceiving the fluctuations of the Tao and its principles, regardless of their location or activity, experienced a profound tremor of the spirit, an ineffable realization. Akin to the cosmic background radiation, naturally surfaced within the depths of their souls, the sovereign of origin had arisen. All paths would eventually converge. This was not sound, nor imagery, but rather an imprint directly inscribed upon the essence of existence itself, heralding the birth of an ultimate sovereign who transcended all known systems. The ancient lords, once driven by their ambitions and schemes amidst the alterations of the myriad Chaos Tower's rules, found their aspirations rendered null in the face of this all-encompassing proclamation, leaving only the deepest reverence and submission. They acutely sensed that their own paths and powers appeared insignificant as mere dust before this sovereign of origin, accompanied by an instinctive, irresistible sense of belonging. The Lord of the Rift prostrated atop the barrier of origin, trembling with excitement. It felt its comprehension of the laws of rift space becoming unprecedentedly docile and vibrant under the Dominion's aura, even hinting at a subtle elevation. This was the grace of the Tao. On the Origin continent, the devotees of the Origin divine sect fell into fervent prayer, acutely aware that the presence of the supreme sovereign of origin had become overwhelmingly clear and grand, as if he had transformed into the very essence of heaven and earth. Li Wei sensed the changes within himself and the omnipresent declaration that pervaded the endless expanse of time and space. With a mere thought, his gaze swept over the imminent collapse of the myriad Chaos Tower, once a symbol of transcendence, now rendered obsolete. Let it become the cornerstone to stabilize this realm of chaos. With a gentle wave of his hand, the colossal shadow of the tower disintegrated instantaneously, not into oblivion, but into countless glimmering streams of origin runes, weaving intricately into the foundational structure of the boundless chaos space. What had once been a chaotic and tempestuous realm now transformed into a realm of pristine order, solidified beyond measure. Simultaneously, an invisible network of origin quietly spread from Li Wei's center, subtly regulating the energy cycles and the operational principles of myriad realms. As he stepped forth, he found himself neither in the sea of origin nor in chaos, but within a realm that defied description by any dimension or concept. Here, there was no up or down, no past or future, only the purest Tao flowing ceaselessly. This was the domain of origin that transcended all specific forms, the true realm of his sovereignty as the sovereign of origin. Here, he beheld the so-called framework barrier, an invisible wall forged from the inexhaustible will of the cosmic cycle of creation and destruction, coalescing under the weight of endless laws. He also glimpsed the great wave of annihilation spoken of by the true spirit of the Tao, a pristine ocean of nothingness that dissolves all, gently surging beyond the confines of the framework. What once instilled in him a sense of pressure now appeared as a mere landscape upon a canvas. The framework served as the picture frame, while annihilation formed the background hue of the canvas. Li Wei observed all of this with serene composure, while I held the brush. He did not seek to shatter the frame nor contend with the background. Instead, with a simple shift of thought, his realm of pristine origin unfurled, its boundaries touching the framework. There were no cataclysmic collisions, only silent integration and overlay. Wherever the realm of origin extended, the framework was naturally embraced and assimilated, becoming part of the rules of the pristine land. The great wave of annihilation approached, brushing against the edges of the pristine realm, akin to a stream merging into the vast ocean, being embraced, transformed, and nourished by the all-encompassing essence of the Tao, thus becoming sustenance for the evolution of the internal return to the source. He was not dismantling the old world. Rather, he was creating a new grand origin, a novel, infinite, and eternal foundation rooted in the essence of his path. Henceforth, the limitless primordial chaos, the myriad realms, and even the formidable great annihilation became the backdrop and integral components of his pristine realm. Li Wei stood at the core of the domain of origin, sensing the perfect unity of his will with this newfound grand source. An unprecedented sense of liberation surged within him, unfettered, without cause or consequence, beyond birth and death. With a thought, the myriad realms radiated brilliance. In contemplative silence, the heavens found tranquility. He embodied the Tao, and the Tao embodied him. This state was truly one of great freedom, a name he softly bestowed upon his ultimate realm. As his gaze descended, he beheld within the realm of origin friends and family from Earth living peacefully in the primordial world, the beast legions safeguarding the dark domain, the spirits of the returned frolicking in their territory. Countless devotees in prayer, and lords like Lu Yu diligently managing the territories incorporated into the pristine land. Everything was orderly, vibrant, and infused with a serene return to the source. He also glimpsed the distant, yet-to-be-covered infinite cosmos, where the dramas of joy and sorrow and unending battles continued to unfold. In Li Wei's eyes, there was neither joy nor sorrow. His path was established, and the way ahead was clear. This journey of sowing the essence and assimilating all was to be the essence of his future cultivation and delight. He gently settled into this state of great freedom, merging his form with the domain of origin. No longer was there fierce conflict, nor was there urgent striving. Instead, there was a tranquil and boundless expansion, as fluid as mercury cascading across the earth. Although the individual legend of Li Wei may be nearing completion, the eternal chapter belonging to the Master of Origin was only just beginning to be inscribed.